I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am, yes I am. I'm the man.
Anderson explores masculinity in Moonrise Kingdom through the character of Sam, and the comparison of the adult male characters to him. Sam tends to embody the exact opposite of traditional masculinity. He is not very strong or handsome, and he isn't high on the scout troop's social ladder. He isn't violent. He isn't territorial of traditionally masculine abilities. He does not exclude outsiders, partially because he is one himself, because he does not possess traditionally masculine traits. The one characteristic he does have is that he is a self-made man. He plans the entire adventure with Susie, however, even this falls apart when he must accept help in order to find ultimate success. The most important thing to note is Sam's age. While he does embody the opposite of traditional masculinity, he has not had the chance for society to teach him otherwise. Though he is starting to feel the pressure of social norms, he has not ended up like the other adult males in the story quite yet. Sam acts as a foil to Mr. Bishop, Scoutmaster Ward, and Captain Sharp. Each of these men embody characteristics of traditional masculinity. They are self-made men with good professions, leaders in their communities, and are examples of fit, healthy men. They tend towards the violent, and they are emotionally immature. However, there are aspects of their characters that show how they do not completely fit into the traditional mold. These traits, when compared to Sam's complete rejection of the mold, show that these characters, as they aged, were forced to take up the traits in order to fit in and find success. At the same time, these characters are very unhappy. This ultimate comparison between Sam's youthful exuberance and happiness in his rejection of traditional masculinity to the unhappiness experienced by those that were forced to fit the mold is used by Anderson to argue for a negotiated meaning of masculinity. At the conclusion of the film, Sam negotiates to find a way to maintain his place with Susie, as well as maintaining his identity in rejection of traditional masculinity. Anderson argues that to combat the problem of unhappiness in connection to masculinity, it is important to negotiate identity based on individual needs and desires instead of solely on social norms.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am.
Here we have The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. In this film, we follow the life of world-renowned oceanographer Steve Zissou and his team, who make their living by filming their wild adventures of their oceanic journeys. However, at this point in Steve's life, he's beginning to fade into obscurity. He's getting older, his wife doesn't love him anymore, and people just don't think his films are what they once were. He decides to embark on what could be his last great expedition in search of the fabled jaguar shark. Along with him and his team is his estranged wife, a pregnant reporter, and a pilot named Ned Plimpton who may be his son.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go on an overnight drunk, and in 10 days, I'm going to set out to find the shark that ate my friend and destroy it. Anyone that would care to join me is more than welcome.
In this film, Wes Anderson breaks the conventional mold of masculinity by showing the audience a main character when he is at his weakest. The Steve we see is washed up, an old man who was once great but is now struggling to fund his projects, let alone keep his boat above water. As the film progresses, we see how Steve tries to regain the youthful heroics that he was once known for. In this scene, he and his crew have been captured by pirates, who tie them up at gunpoint. Steve then breaks free and saves the ship single-handedly.
Here we go.
Steve, what are
I
you going
said, get your ass the hell off of my boat!
Notice the color shift when he finally snaps. Anderson uses this color change to symbolize Steve's brief return to his former glory days. While he may have saved the ship, Steve is actually the one who plotted a course through pirate waters in the first place. Anderson paints this masculinity to be very over the top, with both the violence and accompanying rock music, and it shows how Steve is living in a fantasy world where his heroics may be fun for him, but certainly not for the crew involved. Wes Anderson shows us the male lead in a negative light, as Steve endangers the lives of his own crew for the sake of inflating his ego.
I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes I am, yes I am.
In the Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson combines the ideologies of masculinity of the 40s, in which the bulk of the film takes place, and also the current era with this film. As the metrosexual becomes ever so popular in popular culture, Anderson injects one into his film in the character of Gustav to give us a meaning in the 21st century. Gustav is less a man of pure power, more a man of pretty poetry. In this scene, Gustav openly mocks the nail polish of one of his guests.
Suffering a more acute attack on this occasion, but truly and honestly, oh dear God, what have you done to your fingernails?
I beg your pardon?
This diabolical varnish, the colour is completely wrong.
Oh really, don't you like it?
It's not that I don't like it, I am physically repulsed.
Later on in the film, that same guest passes away and he attends the reading of her will. One would think Gustav would be remorseful in the situation. His friend and lover has recently passed, while all he can say is, well, she was great in the sack, and then compares her to aged meat. This reinforces the ideology of the hypersexuality of metrosexuals. Gustav only cares for sex when it comes to women. Gustav refuses to fight his lover's offended son at the reading of her will, and is then knocked out, symbolizing that the metrosexual was, and still is today, bullied by the standard hyper-aggressive male.
How's that supposed to make me feel?
Call the police! We're pressing charges. This criminal has plagued my family for nearly 20 years. He's a ruthless adventurer and a con artist who preys on mentally feeble, sick old ladies. And he probably fucks them, too.
I go to bed with all my friends.
Our alternative media organization, Media Smarts, is Canada's Centre for Media Literacy and identifies the ideologies of masculinity presented in media, then allocates resources to parents and teachers to help raise children to not accept media's portrayal of manhood and to see the ideology for how it really is.